Yes.
My
Welcome
God,
back.
we got an animal here. I'm sorry. Okay,
We're not going to talk about that right now, Dan, because that's going to be coming up in this interview with Marianne.
Oh,
Funny
I see.
lawyer. Are you a lawyer, Marianne?
Am I a lawyer? No, I'm not a lawyer.
Well, somebody gave me the wrong information then.
I'm a lawyer.
Somebody
I
said
would
you're
like to be a lawyer, and I'd like to earn lawyer fees, yes.
You know, not all lawyers make those fees.
You don't think so?
No, they don't.
Well, then that's the rumor that I heard, so I guess that rumor was wrong.
Okay, so
I
you're...
would,
What?
I would love to be a lawyer, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm sort of a Heinz 57 kind of person.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, but you're an author, right?
Author wannabe.
Didn't you write a book? Don't you have a book?
I've written a book.
Well,
but
that's an author.
You establish an author as, say, Stephen King or Henry David Thoreau. So I think to be classified as an author, I'm someone that's taken a bunch of words and putting them on paper. And I think you really get to be an author when somebody actually, a lot of people buy your book.
Mm-hmm.
So that has not happened yet because this book is on a galley copy. It's not as a printed book just yet.
Okay.
But it's coming.
But it's pretty close. But I remember a friend of mine, well, then a friend, I haven't been in touch with her. We went to yoga class together, and she was an actor. Somewhat successful. She did Dorothy Parker. And one of her lines was, "Get me out of these wet clothes and into a dry martini." Used to hang out in the Algonquin. Anyways, she used to tell me when I said I'm a sometime actor and sometime writer, she says, you know, she reminded me that her dad was a retired lather, whatever lather does. I'm not just dealing with the construction, I guess. He was retired for many years. Whenever anyone asks him, you know, what's his profession, he says he's a lather. So if you actually bumped into Stephen King or Derek Jensen wrote a book on writing. I don't expect you to know him. Or Haruki Murakami, famous writer out of Japan, that you wrote this. Does that qualify you as a writer? But even though it hasn't gone to millions of readers yet, I bet they'd say yeah.
You think he'd say yes?
Yeah.
Is there a difference between a writer and an author? Or is it the same thing?
Oh, okay.
Do you think
well, what is the definition of author? I got to look it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think we have to look it up. Yes, yes.
But I think we got to over-depend on Wikipedia. That's why the professors turn the Wikipedia essays down. They give you an F if you spend too much time on Wikipedia.
Heck, anybody can write on Wikipedia.
From Wikipedia.
You don't have to be a writer or an author.
Oh, that's
okay,
right.
Now,
yeah.
and the reason I say this is because I heard the statistic, 80% of the population, and now there's 7 billion of us, is either writing a book, wants to write a book, or has written a book.
Yeah.
So that's pretty competitive field because
Yeah.
we all have something to say, whether that is valid, what we have to say, or we just would like to get something on paper and say we've done something.
All right, Marianne, but do you have something valid to say?
I believe I do. I believe I have something valued to say.
All right. So now and you've written the book already. So is it what are we talking about in this book here?
This is a book that's at the galley stage, meaning right now it's getting formatted to be turned into a book. And I have written about the techniques that have worked for me to remain sane, where I don't have compulsive thinking, where the brain always wants to think. I've learned how to control my thinking. So I wrote about the techniques that worked for me. So what it all comes down to, any situation you're faced with, if you know how to either turn it off in your brain, throw it out for a solution, but if you can take control of your thinking, that basically is heaven on earth.
Can I revisit this thing called thinking? If I understood right from other authors about that, if it's about like the type of thinking where you're in the zone of the craft, whether you're a putter, golfer, whether you're a guy who makes this beautiful furniture, or you're making a wristwatch. I'm a wristwatch.
That's what I'm doing in my spare time.
Yeah, then that's in the moment of doing that kind of thinking. But is the thinking you're referring to, is that anxiety, unnecessary worry thinking, and trying to control that?
Do you know we have all the talk about present moment living?
Yeah.
What you're speaking of, you're in the present moment.
Right.
And that's how is the joyful time that you're engaged in what you are doing. Like right now, we're having a conversation.
Right.
You're not thinking about what you're cooking for dinner.
Oh,
Maybe.
I am thinking about someone else right now, and I got to stop that. That's a whole other problem. Not your headache, mine, something else, someone else. But
so if I'm sitting around waiting somewhere.
Yeah.
The mind's job is to think. That really is its job. So unless you're engaging it in a focused activity,
Right.
say if you're washing dishes, if you can really engage in washing dishes,
Yeah.
that's great. You feel the bubbles, you're just so happy you're watching dishes.
Yeah, okay.
The
Believe it or
mind,
not, even that. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
but so what you have to bring your mind to doing that task. That's very difficult. Try it.
Yeah.
Like your mind is always thinking because it's its job.
Right.
So I've developed a few techniques for myself that I learned from other people that I use. For example, a mantram, which is repeating a couple of words. Say if you're standing waiting at a bus stop and your mind's thinking, oh, I'm going to worry about that. You just stop it. Say, whoa.
Yeah.
You're not thinking that. And it mostly works really well when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking about your agenda for tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah.
You can indulge it.
Or your should-haves.
You should have, could have,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You can indulge it for a few minutes and
Yeah.
say, gee, I wonder where this is going. Because
Yeah.
you're curious. It sucks you in your mind. And you're going, oh, this is going somewhere good. Well, it usually doesn't. It's a repetitive thinking.
Yeah.
So if you are able to say, okay, that's it. You're done. You're not thinking anymore. And you put the brakes on. And that's a technique where I refer to as a mantram that I learned from this gentleman in California who is now passed, but he taught meditation at Berkeley, and this is one of the things he taught. He was Eknis S. Warren is the man's name, but it's a mantra.
Did he ever meet Timothy Leary or any of those guys?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he tried a different method of controlling his thinking. That's past. We're too old for that now.
Yes, yes. Thankfully, those days are
There's
behind
some good
us.
stuff out there.
Yeah.
There is? Damn.
Oh my! Well, you know, the one thing that the thing about self-help. There's a lot of self-help
Yeah.
books, and a lot of times you'll read something, you go, oh yeah, that's really great. You put the book away, and that's the end of that particular advice that writer has
Yeah,
given you.
yeah.
Say somebody like a Wayne Dyer, who most of us know, Louise Hay, who is an elderly woman with Hay House that supports a lot of self-help authors, because we're just trying to mentally heal ourselves from the great parenting we got from our parents who didn't quite know, for example, in my household, that children should be able to express themselves. In our
Right.
household, children should be seen and not heard.
This is why children should be raised by professionals.
I agree. Or we get really smart. We, as parents, get really smart. And I
Yeah.
think what our generation did, we went overboard with our kids. I know mine.
Go ahead.
We went overboard from, oh, please say, what are you feeling? How is your feeling? So I really focused on my three, how do you feel? Like I really, asked them, their feelings. And they turned out to be okay. They haven't gone through.
We had a guest here a little while back. I was co-hosting with Hugh about how there was too much structure for the kids
Today.
today,
Now.
as opposed to back then. So there's that. The positive of back then is the kids went out and played and created their own games, their own whatever. Out and played ball hockey or they played tag. They even with what little they had, they created stuff, and they created a kind of an infrastructure of right and wrong in a way. And sometimes it worked very well. Unfortunately, today we have
Too much distractions.
too much distraction and
Too
too
many
much
choices.
Mhm.
Too many choices. And they're not where you go out and kick the can around and you're interacting with the other kids. And I remember being in school having fights. That's how there was no bullying.
Yeah.
Somebody picked on you,
Yeah.
you went out after school and you just thrashed it out. That's
Yeah.
how we solved it. Nobody got involved. The principal didn't get involved.
Well, they come
So
out after a while.
They didn't. Well, you know that.
Well, I was there.
You were there.
The principal, because it'd be right in front of the or on
You
school
can't do it
property.
in front of the school.
If it was on, these were on school property, so.
So one of the reasons I needed to write the book
Right.
was for myself and for my children. I was trying to help them understand they're always take responsibility for how you feel. Don't blame the circumstance. Don't
Right.
blame your spouse. Don't blame anything. So one of the techniques that I would use, because my husband is very domestically challenged, and he doesn't tend to put things in the same spot twice.
Yeah.
Aren't all men like that?
Well,
Almost.
I invite you to meet him, and then I would say I always win the husband that is the worst contest. Really,
Oh, really?
I mean,
You do?
Do you close drawers?
I sleep in a drawer. So someone else has to close it.
I close drawers, but maybe an hour later when I realized I didn't close them.
So
And,
do
oh
you
my
think
goodness,
it's a
and I
man
closed
thing?
them.
It's a guy
Oh,
thing?
for
I
sure.
know.
Because
Yes.
this morning I went into the bedroom. He'd had a shower, 2 drawers open, wet towel on the bed. So that's 3 things that I went back, mind you, resenting it at the moment, thinking
Yeah.
under my breath.
Yeah.
So when I feel like that, or because we work together,
Yeah.
and he tends to think he is the boss and I am the secretary,
Yeah.
secretary with benefits,
Right.
he then will take his authoritarian attitude about it. So then I will walk out of the room, come back into the room like this, and this is my technique to change the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a hard time then when I say, I'm not listening, I'm not doing it that way. And I'm very serious.
That looks like a serious guy there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So then that's the end of that, right? Well, okay.
Did he
so
get the message as soon as he put it
he
on?
does. He knows if I come out like this, okay, I mean business. Okay, I'm not quitting. Okay, this means business.
Yeah.
So it's again having techniques for lightening yourself up.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the things that you go through in a day
Yeah.
can be quite mentally draining, and you have to constantly remind yourself, I'm doing it to myself. I am bombing myself. I am doing it to myself. So when my husband and I first met, if he did something and I would be mad at him, he would never try to make it up to me or ask me what's wrong. He would ask me many hours later, are you still mad? And I would stay mad for 2 days. But he'd still just say, oh, are you still mad?
Yeah.
It got me over. It doesn't work with him. If something happens, get over it. And I wasn't able to, but it got me over it because I knew he wasn't going to do anything, which was a great lesson.
So you expanded, you grew as a person through
Because
that?
of my husband.
Because of the challenges that he
Perfect.
gave to you, right?
Exactly. And he says, look, you should be grateful to me for this.
Yes. That's
But-
what I
But
would
no,
say.
Isn't that wonderful? We
I
get these.
missed a small part here. I understand what you're saying. It was just a little semantics. So if he's asking you some hours later, are you still angry? Does that mean
I haven't talked to him for 2 hours at that point.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I would just ignore him, but he didn't care if I ignored him.
Yeah.
Oh, I
He
see.
was busy. He did his thing. He smiled. My mood did not affect him. I learned a lot from him.
Oh, I see.
In that way, there isn't anything that affects him, and he can get over it in like 5 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
And whether the whole place is in chaos,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Where I, on the other hand, all the chaos really bothers me.
Yeah.
have
So
to
by
type
putting
it.
on this Groucho Marx costume, he gets it now, or he still does? It's really for you.
It's more for me.
Yeah.
It gets him smiling at me.
Yeah.
That lightens me up. It works well for both of us because now we work together.
It
in a
might
situ-
remind him that to close the drawers. Like he actually says, "Oh." I
You
think
know
I did
what?
that."
You can say it, and he will say, "Yeah, I'll do it."
No, you should bill him. Itemize every item and bill him. That would work for me.
We have that. We do have a paying thing for certain things.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to mention. We do have paying things for certain things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
See? Just expand your
expand the
inventory.
list.
Your inventory just got bigger, right?
Well,
Okay.
We got to learn more about this book, I guess.
Well,
Whatever.
yeah, actually, Marianne, it's funny because I think this was before you came here today, but last night I was reading a self-help book that I had acquired earlier in this week with another guest on the show. And I was thinking to myself, I think there's going to be a day soon when nobody will read self-help books anymore.
I agree.
Because how many self-help books? I mean, you're a self-described self-help junkie, right?
But I'm not a junkie anymore. I'm a cured junkie.
Oh, that's interesting. So let's get into that. But what I was thinking was that, you know what? How many of these books have I read, have everybody read, and still nothing changes?
Because you're not
and
doing
I'm
what
finally,
they suggest.
I'm sick of these books, right? Let me read something
New.
Well, wait a minute.
new and different.
My sister tried it's not just books, but certain programs. My sister tried every diet thing. She's overweight. She's also an epileptic. She had to take certain pills, which blowed her up. And it didn't work because I guess when you get depressed about certain things between work and whatever, you indulge in eating that's not what you should be eating. So she finally went for the band thing, where the operation for the band tightening thing, where they operate.
I've seen that ad.
And it actually
it worked.
It's working to a point. She lost 30 pounds, but they want to tighten it further where she can't hardly eat. She won't go there. But at least she lost 30 pounds. She might learn a little bit more, so they're going to have to loosen it. So it will be a partial thing that's been sort of forced, but she's been doing really great with the discipline. So it depends on the individual.
So it's actually like taping your mouth shut almost, right? Like it's,
in a way,
you're shrinking your stomach.
Yeah.
So that's a real drastic.
That's drastic.
But what you're saying about self-help, there is a reason why one first explores that avenue. And
Yeah.
I first explored it because my thinking, I believe that you should be able to control your thinking. That, why was I freaking out through something that I was going through? And I really wanted to take control of it. So one of the things now is we don't need another self-help book. Once you have delved enough into yourself and understand where where you need to tweak yourself, because we pick up our patterns from our parents. For example, my mom, if I spilt milk, she would freak out. It would be the end of the world. It's not a big deal. That's still in me. They used to scream to close the fridge door, save the electricity. I still now, whenever I open the fridge door, I still hear my mother's voice in my head. So there are certain things that we have to override our programming, and that's part of why I got into it. Some of the things that my parents did, not to be, doing things that they didn't know, they just didn't know that, children should be listened to.
How could they know? It's just one more step on the way to the ultimate future where the state will raise all children and we'll all be better off.
No state. We have to raise our kids, and we have to raise them to be kind, neurosis-free, and loved. So, yeah, there's going to be a time there's not going to be any more self-help books out there.
Well, I'm thinking maybe that time will start when this book is no longer just a galley print and is actually out there for people to get, because it is, it sounds like you've taken all the lessons that you've learned about self-help books, put them into this thing.
I wrote it like a diary. So so it's not like, here, this is what works. This is what worked for me. And if you're still needing to add a few more little things into your database, throw this in there. Bottom line is, use one thing, do one thing, teach yourself a mantra, and it's just 2 words, and Gandhi used it. He used Rama Rama. So whenever your brain starts getting really busy, repeat it and do it all the time. I've been doing it for maybe, I think, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
So it works. You
know what I heard? Have you heard about this Vipassana yoga retreat?
10-day
it's a silent.
Yes, yeah, I've heard of it.
And we talked.
Did you try it?
I haven't. No, but I'm kind of tempted to do it, and I've talked to a lot of people that have done it, and they've come out away from it with awesome. Say nothing but great, and they say that after a couple of days you're going crazy, and your mind, that mind you're talking about, that's chatter, is just they can't keep it silent. But after the 10 days, they've mastered it.
Probably because there's no input going in.
Yeah.
So finally, it gives up. You've worn it down.
Yeah.
That works if you're in a temple situation. But when you get out into the real world, you're dealing with everything going on. I think you have a mixture of meditation.
But I think that it's going along somehow the lines with what you're talking about, just in a different way. You're below like the weed in the wind. The wind blows and the weed blows with it. It doesn't try to stop it. So ideas come to you, but you let it just acknowledge it, let it go by a little bit more, and that might help you with. I mean you in the plural, not you.
Yes.
You may not have to, but go. But you found another path, wrote the book. But there's other people like myself, maybe, where you kind of freeze that part of yourself, and it works. There's a friend of mine that goes back over and over again. He teaches meditation. He's gone the 10 days. He's done the 3-week thing. Like silence.
See, for the average person that's, say, going to work 9 to 5, got kids to raise,
but
they're not able to access some of that.
Exactly.
So this is about practical things, because I was raising 3 kids at the same time and running a business, very busy. I didn't have the time to go to do a 10-day.
Substantially
So
correct,
trying to, this is about just regularly incorporating into your life.
Exactly.
Which is great. Sounds like what people need, because I was like seriously thinking last night, you know, I'm sick of these self-help books. I want to actually do something.
They're too I find some are just a little too authoritarian,
Yeah.
saying this way and you'll do this, you do this, and you're done. And if you read some of the titles, it's 7 things to do to be rich, 7 things to have a peaceful mind, 7 things or 6. We're all unique in how our brain is. You have to become your own therapist.
So those self-help books are like giving us fish, and what your book is like teaching us how to fish.
Well, some
right?
of that fishing I went through.
Yeah.
I went through and wrote about some that I really found were of value. So it really is a bit of a research project that you go on.
Okay, great. Well, listen, we got some other. We don't have too much time left, but we have all this groovy stuff that you brought,
yes.
and you brought this one here called Pure Energy, and I'm fascinated. What is this,
I got
Marianne?
this in Banff. I thought this was hilarious because it's, again, tricking my mind. It's since I bought it, I've had no down energy.
Really? Are you serious?
I've trained my mind to do that, right? I told myself when I bought that in Banff, that's it. Because sometimes you have a lull at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. No, I've got my energy.
We're just showing what the Pure Energy is, but no, seriously, does that
Seriously,
work?
I've tricked myself.
It's quartz crystals is what we're
Yes.
looking at here. And how is this supposed to work?
Well, again, it's a placebo, right? For me, it works. I've told myself,
Can I see it?
I have my little bag of things.
Yeah, you
that,
got all kinds of stuff.
well,
Let's
little things
talk
that
about
keep
it.
me focused. Okay, for example, my little love rock. So
Love rock.
love.
What do you do with that?
I want to remind myself that, you know, we live on a loving planet.
Oh yeah.
Everything else that's going on isn't real. It's love. So I carry that, and faith. Have faith that whatever, all the goodness will come. The world isn't going to end next year.
I thought it was.
The European crisis is going to be fixed.
What if it doesn't? Then what are you going to
No,
do?
it's going to happen. No, don't go there.
See?
Law of attraction. Don't go there.
If it doesn't happen, it's going to be your fault.
We're all gone. We'll see you in the next spirit.
That's
We'll
great.
see.
Okay, that's
And
awesome.
then I
Yeah.
bought, I think this, I can't read it. I don't have my glasses.
Here, let me.
Confidence.
Do you want me to read it?
I think it,
What
can
is
you
this
read
stuff?
It?
What is it though?
It's little rocks.
Oh, it's gold tiger eye. The confidence stone inspires bravery with balanced sensitivity. Believes to be an aid in the entire digestive
There I have,
system.
what is that? I have all that.
It's
I
gold
have
tiger
bravery,
eye.
I have confidence.
I have some of this stuff. Let's. I don't
You're
know if
not
you can see
supposed
that.
to eat it or drink
No,
it.
it's a stone. It's a stone. It's too small.
You carry it.
But anyway, it's nice.
And then, of course, when if you've got my perfect man.
Yeah, let's look at the perfect
This
man
is
here.
the perfect man.
Yeah, where is he? Here he
This
is.
is the perfect man, and you know, this is. I threatened my husband with him. I'm going to have an affair with him.
With this guy?
This guy right there. He
He's-
doesn't talk much. He just
No,
listens.
he
I
li-
do have, you know, we
Right.
sit around and I fantasize about him talking to me.
Really?
But he's good. Yes,
This
he's
little
good.
guy?
And
Yeah.
then, you know, whatever I want him to say to me, I have my little sayings.
Oh,
you
so
know,
you
you
can-
just change the sayings.
Uh-huh.
You know, you're always right, dear. May I take you shoe shopping?
Because guys love to do that. Take their women shoe shopping.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And that's very nice that you should say that, because whoever's listening, if you really want to get to the heart of the soul of a woman,
Yeah,
take her shoe shopping. You're in.
really.
That's it.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And cook her a meal. Cook a meal. Cook a meal. Guys that
That's
can
right, cook a meal.
They are hot. Guys
know,
that can cook.
I was at Broadway and 82nd Street in New York. I was staying at someone's place, and I bumped into a red-headed woman, and I said, "Excuse me, are you in the?" She was looking at shoes in a shoe store outside, those fancy shoes. And I asked her, the Upper West Side, "What do you do?" She says, "Well, I'm an actor." It turned out to be Julianne Moore. I could have bought her a pair of shoes.
Oh, you see?
See, Dan? And, yeah.
You didn't seize the
I
moment.
didn't seize the day, no.
Hey, okay, and let's talk about the monkey,
Well,
the minky.
you know, there's times in your day, right? You think you really need to have a laugh. And you need a little help on
Yeah,
that laugh.
you do.
So you get out your monkey.
I've got the monkey out.
You turn him on.
You don't read the writing in the monkey.
Yeah, you have
Sometimes you have to.
to give him room. How could you not laugh?
This is good. So where did you get?
My brother sent that to me. He's a very funny guy. He sent that to me.
Where did you get this? Florida,
Well,
somewhere?
and then he also, you can keep him going because
he's good.
depends on how much laughter you need.
Oh, I
And
see.
I'm going to leave you as a gift. I'm leaving you my monkey.
Really?
Really?
Yes, I'm leaving you my monkey.
Uh-oh, you got caught in my mic. Okay, now how does he stop?
Oh, you have to turn him off.
I have to
Get
turn
in
him
there.
off. Okay. Well, that's great, Marianne.
Yeah.
So now, when can we expect to actually be able to get our hands on that book?
It won't be until the end of this year, I am told. And then the thing about writing is you got to every time you change a word, it throws the whole thing off, and
Oh,
it
I
has
know.
to be re-edited. So
Yeah.
either I say, oh, quick, just take it anyway, but every once in a while I have a good idea, and I think, oh, I'll throw that in. So I just have to stop with good ideas
Yeah.
and start another
Just
book.
set your deadline for it to get it out there, and
Well,
then
the
it'll
end
be done.
of this year, and,
Yeah.
and my next book, if I do another one, is going to be called Whose Mind Is It Anyways?
That sounds familiar, but what's that going to
I
be
don't
about?
think that's going to be like you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
Take responsibility for how you feel, that's it.
Well, listen, there's been a number of books by different authors for different things called Walking on Water. So certainly go ahead, even though someone may have used that title for something else. It's,
Okay,
it's
I'll
all
Google that
you have
title,
license. I
actually.
think you have free license because if people use Walking on Water. Totally, Salman Rushdie, Derek Jensen, various different people use that same title, but totally different book.
Yes.
So it's fine.
Well, now what I see what's involved, I
Yeah.
don't know if I'll be that tempted to jump into things too quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we know what that book's about? Oh, you already said.
Do we
Sorry.
know what this book is about?
Do I know
Are we talking-
where I am? I don't know. That's great. So is that going to be the artwork on the book?
This is the artworrt.
Let's
and
hold it
if
up
you can
here.
see
Let me hold it on the close-up camera
it-
just to get
it's,
a real
it's
good.
a dog training himself.
There we go. Are we doing that? Wouldn't that be nice?
We really are, training ourselves.
Yeah. Until next year. So you don't think the world's going to end in 2012?
Definitely not. No.
Okay,
no.
good.
And
Well, there may be a shift to something
Shift.
positive
Shift.
with everybody, like a revolution of our minds to maybe the way you're suggesting.
Well,
Yeah.
there's that
Meditation.
critical mass shift that if we, get like 10% of the population changing our thinking
Exactly.
and just be nicer to
That
each
could
other.
be the two-tail style.
It-
That could be the change.
It's
Well,
the
I
100th
think
monkey,
It's a positive.
Yeah.
And
this
I've
is the
written
first,
there.
right, of the monkeys right
There
here.
is. You got the first of the monkey. I have the monkey story in there.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what it is. Just we just need to be nicer to ourselves, and we can only be nice if we feel good about ourselves.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fantastic. That's a great message. So, Marianne, if people want to get in touch with you or stay in touch, or they want to find out what you're up to next and that sort of thing, how can they do that?
Marianne Funny at hotmail.com. I'm going to keep it very simple. And I have an email that I can man on my own. If I do all those other things, I'll have to hire somebody to work for me. And I would rather just man a Hotmail account.
That's great. So it's Marianne, Marianne, funny, like
Haha.
haha, at hotmail.com.
hotmail.com.
That's
And
great.
you might be doing workshops someday. You never know.
I
Yeah.
will do whatever I'm offered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm out there doing whatever.
Okay, great, Marianne. Thanks for coming in and telling us
Thank
about
you,
this
it's a
today.
pleasure.
And that was
Thank
lots of
you.
fun. And I
Yeah.
like your crystals. I really like them. We'll talk about that off the
These
air.
are also used for quartz watches.
This is Dan. We're going to take a little break now, and we're going to come back with Ben Anteo, journalist, novelist. More writing
More
as
writing.
Liquid
Oh,
Lunch
yeah.
continues. Here's some Hugh Leggett Brothers. We'll be right back. LiquidLunch.ThatChannel.com.
my name is Marianne Funny. I have written a book called Diary of a Self-Help Junkie. I can be contacted at mariannefunny@hotmail.com. I've written a diary-inspired reflections. It is written in a diary reflection style, journaling my journey through a time where I was going through a very stressful time, taking care of my ailing father, and my mom had just passed away. I believe my book will appeal to a lot of women that are going through the sandwich generation stage, raising children, taking care of a family. If you find that you need some kind of techniques, relaxing, calming techniques, I've written about them. I've written about what has helped me. I've studied self-help for about 30 years, and I have written daily, almost daily during the time that I was taking care of my father, and I think it will give you a leg up and some support if you're a woman with children, and if you're just generally finding that your stress level is a little high. I've got some techniques that will help you. I suggest that the techniques be applied. I also think that if you read the book, you may find that you'll put yourself on your own self-healing path. You will become your own, you must become your own therapist if you find that your life is a little bit chaotic, which most of our lives are at times. But in order to really get the benefit out of reading my book, you have to seriously do the techniques. And there's a few that work really well. They're very simple. It's not going to require you to leave town. You can do it in your own home.